Hello, Star Wars fans. Hey, there's just 23 days until Christmas 2021. Oh, and if you want to do a virtual visit with Santa, the information's there below. And if I could ask you all to do me a huge favor, is make sure you're still subscribed. My subscribers have been dropping. I think that's mostly because of YouTube, Google cleaning up accounts, but we've dropped quite a bit in the last 2 weeks. And if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. It helps the channel out a lot. So would really appreciate it. And I love all the blurred comments in the chat. You guys are great. And we're going to today we're going to have a community stream. We're going to let you all join. So if you're a member of our Discord, you will find the link to join in the discussion right here. So you click on that melon link, you log in, and you can join us in the discussion. What we want to do today is just speculation, right? What would you speculate Star Wars might go from here, or movie, TV show, Lucasfilm itself? Speculate what might they be doing. And this is not dude, trust me, bro. These aren't leaks. They're not inside information. It's pure speculation. So I'll start us out with one, and just to give you an idea of how speculation would work. Oh, and I think it's unlikely, but that's sort of the point of it, is to say, well, what might they do if you were to think out of the box? And some time ago, we heard Rian Johnson was going to get a trilogy of movies, and it was going to be in a different part of the universe. It was going to establish a whole different storyline, be outside of what we know as the Star Wars universe. So my speculation has been, if that trilogy were to happen, it would be in the Chiss Ascendancy. So that would fit all of those descriptions. And because Thrawn is a bit of a Sherlock Holmesian type character, and you look at Rian Johnson's Knives Out movie and the sequel that he's working on, that involves mystery kind of stuff, problem solving, sleuthing, and it all fits together. So that's me putting pieces together and just coming up with my own theory. And I've seen lots of other theories about the world between worlds and different timelines and this and that. So you guys join. Let us know your theories, and let me know what you think they could do. And let's see. We've got. Thank you so much, Kiara. Appreciate the super chat there. So our very first guest is a regular on the show. You all know her, you love her, and this is why you're here. You're here to see Star Wars Meg. Hello, Meg. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Santa. How are you?
I'm great. I love your avatar that you created for
Thank
the
you.
discussion. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So, first of all, what do you think of my pure speculation?
About the Chiss Ascendancy?
Yeah, and Rian Johnson doing a trilogy using the Chiss Ascendancy.
I think it'd be a good idea. I mean, as you know, I think Rian Johnson is a talented movie maker. Regardless of what you think about The Last Jedi and whether he was right for the project or whether you enjoyed the film or didn't, he is talented in and of himself. And I don't know if Lucasfilm would give him the chance to make a trilogy, considering there's been all the speculation about it not being in the works anymore. But I would be up for it, and if anyone could make that kind of story, why not him?
Fantastic. Fantastic. So, what speculation do you have? Again, this isn't the dude, trust me, bro. This isn't any insider information you have. We don't want to be going there. Just speculation, something you could put the pieces together.
Just generally in
Yeah.
Star Wars?
Yeah, or whatever you like. Could be even Lucasfilm. Like maybe Michelle Rejwan is going to take over Kathy Kennedy's position, or
Well, I think my craziest theory is that Yaddle is going to be in The Mandalorian at some point.
fantastic. So
I think that during the sequel trilogy, Grogu went off with Yaddle back to their homeworld. That's my theory.
there you
It
go.
sounds crazy, but that's what this is for.
It's exactly what this is for. That's fantastic, and that's good. uh, Yaddle, of course, you have an affinity for Yaddle, as I do with blurgs.
Exactly.
So it would be great that. And so, do you think that are you a proponent of the Yoda and Yaddle parentage
Absolutely.
of Grogu?
Absolutely. I think he's definitely the love child of Yoda and Yaddle, which kind of explains why Yoda wasn't too pissed off about Anakin and Padme,
Oh, well, that would make sense.
because he
But,
was like, that would be calling the kettle black, or black, that would be calling the kettle
right.
pot. It's there somewhere in that jumble of words.
Oh, that's great. Elvis, they're poking the bear. By the way, I've got something to share with everybody. I don't have your music playing in the background. I should have already had that going, but I had a fantastic surprise. I did a podcast with Darth Elvis just yesterday, and Elvis gave me this gem. So I'm going to play it for you all, and so you can
Amazing.
hear it. You don't know. It's all the things that make me happy.
Hot dang! Talking through the news from a galaxy far away. Toys and book reviews, positivity all the way. Come and join the fun, subscribe and like away. Movie news and show reviews, it's like Christmas every day. Oh, Star Wars Santa, Star Wars Santa, the Star Wars Santa show. Oh, what fun it is to chat on the Star Wars Santa show. Oh, Star Wars Santa, Star Wars Santa, the Star Wars Santa show. Oh, what fun it is to chat on the Star Wars Santa show. Ho, 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 ho. Hot dang, ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a treat tonight on the Star Wars Santa show. He can feel your presence. So join the chat, loosen up and have some fun with Star Wars Santa.
I see it, Wes. Good work.
Talking through the news from a galaxy far away. Toys and book reviews, positivity all the way. Come and join the fun, subscribe and like away. Movie news and show reviews, it's like Christmas every day. Oh, Star Wars Santa, Star Wars Santa, the Star Wars Santa show. Oh, what fun it is to chat on the Star Wars Santa show. Oh, Star Wars Santa, Star Wars Santa, the Star Wars Santa show. Oh, what fun it is to chat on the Star Wars Santa show.
We have multiple verses.
Hot damn!
There's more than two
Buckle up
verses.
those
There's more
blurs and
coming.
join the fun.
Target. Maximum firepower.
Oh, it's fantastic.
That was brilliant.
It makes
I
me
feel
so
festive.
happy. Oh, Darth Elvis did such a great job. It was so much fun. Yeah, It's- and I'm absolutely sure he put the "Feel Your Presence" in there specifically for you, Meg.
Absolutely. I feel a sense of joy after hearing that. I feel giddy and gay and
It's
happy.
so much. It's so much fun. So much fun. He did a great job. I was really happy with it. And here he goes. Mariah parody for next year. He's already
I
planning.
love parody songs.
It's
They
so
were like
much
the
fun.
heart and soul of YouTube when YouTube started. Just
It's-
parody accounts.
It's really good. It's really good. Speculation Town again. I've got more. All right. The first was the Ryan Johnson doing a Chiss Ascendancy trilogy. Additional speculation where we could go is perhaps I've got to get my brain back into the speculation. Um, oh, let's talk about the toy line for a little bit. I think that the HasLab Rancor that's been in so much trouble, I am going to guess that it will fail, and it will fail, and then we're going to get a vintage collection project next because the Black Series folks did not step up to the plate. Our vintage collection folks,
I
they
think that's
got
pretty reasonable.
we got right on the ball. So that's again an idea of speculation. So I don't have
Who's
any
banging
inside
in the room
information.
next door?
They're working on the new. They're working on a new studio for Santa. So I ordered some studio lights yesterday. I had to drop a few $100s in there. It wasn't cheap, but we got that. They're working on the steps, so it's going to get louder and louder as they work their way up the stairwell. So.
I agree with Nikki. It's the elves trying to escape.
we we have the door securely locked at the top of the staircase. So yeah.
My change in background is simply Santa telling me to distract you guys away from the banging sound and make fun of the hat I'm wearing.
Sheev's got one. He wants a parody of Hound Dog. You ain't nothing but a shield dog.
We should get Knights of Melvin to do that. He did some really funny ones. He did Never Had a Shill Like Me from Aladdin.
Yeah.
He did Beauty and the Shill with Kathleen Kennedy from
Oh, did he?
yeah, Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, it's so much fun. So and I know there are several of you, Nikki being among them, that are trying to get the Knights of Melvin to target me. I think it's going to eventually happen, but we'll see. Maybe
I have
they'll-
one question to ask you, Santa, and this is going to push Melvin over the edge or not.
Oh no! Oh no!
What do you think of the Disney Star Cruiser, the hotel?
Oh boy! Oh boy!
Because nobody likes it, not even the shills like it.
I think that it has potential. So there you go. That's my shill hat. I'll start from there. I think it's a little too clean. The Star Wars universe. You think about the Tantive 4 when it first came on. It wasn't pristine clean in the original trilogy. You look at the Falcon, especially not pristine clean. That hotel looks a little too pristine clean to me. So it's got some potential. They need to dirty it up a little bit. Put a little wear and tear into it so that when you're going through there, it feels lived in, not something out of Star Trek.
It looks horrible. It looks like Battlestar Galactica. It's just like generic space station with singing alien woman and generic bar.
Yeah, I saw Jay Drunk 3PO's kind of discussion about it, and he was trying to be reasonable, just going through the Twitter responses, and yeah, that seems to be the overall interpretation of it, is that it looks too generic, it looks too Star Trek, and I'm gonna guess that no, Ronnie, it's not open yet. It's coming soon. It's coming soon. It's coming soon. But they're already taking reservations, and I think that the reservations are already filled, like the ones that they made available. I think they're all sold. But yeah, I just the gameplay in the bridge or whatever that is, the control room. It looks very much like the ride of not the ride of Resistance, the Falcon ride. What's that one called?
The Millennium Falcon?
Yeah, there's the one where you get to pilot the Falcon. It's got a name, but it looks a lot like that kind of gameplay where things are going to light up. You push the buttons, you shoot the TIE fighters, you go into hyperspace, all that kind of thing. It all looks fairly well, but or fairly good. It just it needs some more. It needs some more. Smuggler's Run. That's it, Jimmy. Thank you so much. Yeah. So it looks very much like Smuggler's Run kind of interactivity. And Jay's not wrong there either in saying that, look, that's going to be full of people, and they're going to rotate people in and out to play the ride, you know? So I don't know. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I
Same
think
thing?
you're being very generous, but I'll respect your opinion.
That's my hat.
I think
You
I'm
know,
a bit harsher about it. It doesn't feel Star Warsy at all. And it's a bit of an insult in a way to the Star Wars fans to be like, hey, look, we created a Star Wars-esque hotel, Star Cruiser, and there's nothing about it that's Star Warsy. And the parts that are just like you wouldn't expect to pay, was it $6,000?
Four. Well, like 4,800 for 2 nights for two.
It's still
I think.
absurd.
Yeah, yeah, 4,800 US for 2 nights for two. So adjust for your currency, you know. A little less for you, and a little more for our Canadian friends. So that's how that. It's still pretty absurd. It's a high dollar price, and look, it gives you entry to the park. You get early access, all the things that you would if you were staying in a Disney resort. And if you look at a typical Disney resort for 2 nights, it's not in that ballpark, right? So it's if you're going to say $4,800, I think the average 2 night stay in a Disney resort is depends what sort of where you want to stay. But if you stay at the high end ones, like the Yacht and Beach Club, you're going to be in that ballpark. You're going to be a little bit less, but you're in that $4,000 kind of range, and so you're paying a bit of a premium over the other kind of luxury resorts, but um, it's a price tag. Yeah,
I was just shocked how bad it was. I thought at
yeah.
least maybe they could cater to sequels fans and, it could be a good experience for families, but it just looks so underwhelming, let alone the fact that it doesn't even feel like Star Wars. But I
Well,
love
that's what
your positive outlook. Having said that, I want to highlight something that Jimmy says in the comments. What does Disney have to do to turn Star Wars Santa into Star Wars Krampus? Because every time there's been something where generally the community dislikes something Disney Star Wars does, you tend to have a more positive outlook. So is there anything they could do to kind of convert you to the side that is a bit more skeptical, to put it nicely?
Um, yeah, yeah. If they were to completely cut out the sequels, make them non-existent, retcon them out of existence, out of the continuity, make them not part of the of canon, then I'd be grumpy about that for a while. Yeah.
I think that's fair enough. Even as someone who doesn't particularly like them, there are tons of people who do.
Yeah, and
So would you be upset if they did the world between worlds theory that some people have talked about?
yeah, so that's sort of what prompted me to think about this topic. Is on your Discord, especially our good friend. I always get the acronym wrong. What's he go by over there? HO.
AMC.
Yeah,
HOA.
HOAMC president, right? Um, he's been an advocate, quite vocal advocate of the world between worlds, creating a multiverse in Star Wars. And from what there he is. Look who's here. He's here. Um, uh, uh, I don't think that a multiverse is possible the way that Filoni has described it, and so I don't think that a multiverse exists. But the way that Dave kind of described it, and at least the way that I interpret it, the way that I read it, is that if somebody were to change something based on the knowledge they gained, then it would destroy the other timelines as it created the new one, much like you get in uh, Back to the Future, where people cease to exist and the future changes. It's not that there are a multiverse. There's one future, and if it changes, it destroys anything that it replaces. So,
See,
what's
I
your
think
take?
it's very possible for them to use the world between worlds, and I think it's almost a given we will see it in the Ahsoka series. You've kind of converted me on the whole logo thing, on it being the Lothal temple ceiling instead of it being the world between worlds.
Hmm.
But the way that it was set up in Rebels, I definitely think that would be something Dave Filoni would want to explore in the Rebel sequels, which, as we're seeing, is going to be probably the Ahsoka series, Rangers, and as we've spoken about in the past, if they create a Thrawn series with Ezra.
Yep.
So I can definitely see the world between worlds being used. Is it going to retcon the sequels? I'm not completely sold either way, because I don't want to say a firm no, because if they do put it on a separate timeline, I can also see them not disrespecting them, but also going that route. So they can put it on a separate timeline without necessarily completely saying it eradicates it. I like the theory that I think Lawstar, the YouTuber, put forward,
Yep.
that the world between worlds could be used as a warning, or rather, the sequel trilogy is a warning of an alternative reality where Ahsoka died. But because Ahsoka lives, we might be seeing a different route. So you don't have to get rid of the sequels, but you can just put them on a different timeline. Now, whether that upsets some fans of the sequel trilogy, again, that is subjective. But
So
I
let
wouldn't
me,
completely write off that point.
yeah, let me ask you the other question around that. In Rebels, when we see Ahsoka and Vader duel, the first time, right? When, and I think it's in season 3. I could be wrong about that. At the end of that episode, at the very, very end, you can see Ahsoka walking up to that temple, and she's going underneath into a doorway. So we know that she's not dead in that original uh, episode. Do you think there's a timeline, or that somehow that she actually died in that duel with Vader?
100%.
How so?
She died. I don't know how to. I don't really understand what
Well,
kind of.
in the first time we see the episode, she survived.
Yes.
So,
But what I'm saying is there is a reality where she did die.
and that would have been before we saw the season 3. I think it's season 3 episode. Is that what you're saying?
I
Because
might be mistaken.
in that episode, she doesn't die. Like the first time when you see them duel,
Yes.
she doesn't die. She survives. We see her at the very end walking up underneath, and that's before the World Between Worlds episode aired later. So, given that maybe they and probably more than likely planned the World Between Worlds episode to have her survive, so the first time we see it, she survives. Where is it that she doesn't survive? Right? Like,
But then you can say, where is it that the sequel trilogy is not on a separate timeline?
I don't think it does. I think it is always on the timeline, and I think that she survived the first time. She's always survived. That's always been the reality. The only thing that changed is that her knowledge of what happened changes. So the first time she went through, she didn't know what she found out from Ezra when he pulled her out and told her a bunch of stuff, and then put her back.
So do you think they're going to use the World Between Worlds again, or do you think that's more or less a closed book?
I hope that it's a closed book, but I'm not convinced that they won't include it in some fashion.
So what about the fact that we hear Maz Kanata speaking to Rey, and we hear Kylo Ren's voice in the World Between Worlds from The Force
Because-
Awakens?
Yeah, Well, I think that that's because those timelines happened.
But do you not think that's a foreshadowing that maybe it was in the works to potentially retcon that to be on a separate timeline, to be a
No,
different version of events?
no, I don't think it was. I think that that's always been the outcome, and that was never anything other. And that even if it was, then there's still no multiverse, and that the other potential timelines don't exist because they were
So how
destroyed.
can you justify? So here's my question to you. So what happens to Grogu?
What happens to Grogu?
Yeah.
Um, well, we don't know for sure. His future is open. He could be any number of places. He could be on Mandalore. He could be traveling around the universe with Din Djarin. He could be otherwise engaged, right? Doing something else.
So why wasn't he in the sequel trilogy?
Why wasn't Din Djarin in the sequel trilogy?
Because he's not as important as Grogu.
Why wasn't Bo Katan in the sequel trilogy? Why wasn't,
Because she's not as
you know,
important as Grogu.
right? So I think there's a lot of people you could ask the same question of, and find out that, well, they just weren't part of that story, right?
But you
So
would kind of feel as though if Luke, you know, decided, okay, yeah, I'm going to go help the Resistance as my last act in The Last Jedi, you would kind of feel as though he wouldn't just cite Rey as the next Jedi. That, if Grogu is still alive, then why, and he's a Jedi or Force sensitive, or maybe even if he isn't, maybe if the state of the Resistance depended on a Jedi, maybe if Grogu doesn't end up training with Luke, well then, are you seeing the point I'm trying to get across?
I do see your point,
I think
but
it's more of a case of Grogu is way too important to have not been involved unless there is a separate timeline.
I say, and I disagree with you. I think that there's a lot of universe, like where are the Chiss, where are the Mandalorians, where are the, like, we don't see any of those in the sequel trilogy, but presumably they exist. Like
And why
as
didn't Yoda mention Grogu to Luke when either in Return of the Jedi or when he speaks to him again in The Last Jedi? Like, even if Grogu is doing something else in a different part of the galaxy, you would think Yoda would have been like, oh, by the way, if you need some hope, you remember that little green version of me that you trained,
why didn't
my
he
son?
mention why didn't he mention Ahsoka? Like Ahsoka, hey, I've got there's another Jedi out there who is very experienced, knowledgeable, and somebody that you could uh, team up with, or at least mentor with. Ahsoka, go find her.
I don't think Yoda liked Ahsoka very much.
So I just think all those questions fit in because it's Star Wars, and things change over time, and George didn't plan it all out, and things that are
It's
happening.
just Grogu though. He's so important. I can't help but feel that the reason we don't see him later on is that there is this pre-planned version of events in The Mandalorian that exist on a separate timeline to the sequel trilogy.
And I would say because Filoni wasn't there during the creative process of the original trilogy. Oh, I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same
Wait,
thing.
wait. I'm pretty sure Filoni was consulted for the sequels, and
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Filoni absolutely loved the sequels.
yeah, I agree with you. Which raises another question. So Grace Randolph tweeted, and then people ran with it. Specifically, Josh with the Den of Nerds, and I listened to his live stream this morning, and
That bothered me.
he kind of stepped in it a little bit. What role does Dave Filoni specifically have in the creation of movie content? So let's say, was he part of the Patty Jenkins review and looking at her story and making decisions that were kind of affecting her story?
I think Filoni, as the executive creative director, does oversee big decision making, and I don't think he has the creative control that we'd like to assume he has over every project. But at the same time, he can. I think he does have the authority to be like, no, this is not a good idea because X, Y, and Z. And I would think it'd be more of a collaborative process, more than just being like, I don't like this idea, so we're just going to chuck it out of the window. So take the Leslie Headland project, The Acolyte. It'd be more like she would consult Filoni about, look, this is what we have planned for the first episode or two. What do you think? And he might give some input, rather than him being like, no, you're fired. This is good, or this is bad. And I don't think he makes those massive decisions, and I don't think we can credit him with the big ideas of every single project. And it was kind of the same thing with the Bad Batch, where he took a bit more of a step back in that project, and it was really Jennifer Corbett who helmed that. But as for this Grace Randolph report, as you say, a lot of people just kind of jumped the gun and made a lot of assumptions. It's also why I didn't cover it. I didn't really want to
very
step
good on
into
you,
the-
by the way. I
into the
wanted
poop.
to.
I did the same thing last year. I reported on something she said, and then a few days later I said, take it with a grain of salt. I think it was to do with the Pedro Pascal situation.
Yeah.
But ever since all of that, I now know to be much more cautious about what I report on and the sources. So I didn't really want to say anything until, let's say, Star Wars Newsnet or Bespin Bulletin had something else to say.
Very wise on your part. I was really, really proud. I was like, there's our Meg. She's nailing it. You just let it go and didn't fall into the poo, as you put it. Hey, we've got another guest to bring on. Let's bring in Green Bear. How you doing, my friend? Let's see if he's got his volume. You got your mic working? Oh, I hear something. Green Bear, you there? Well, we'll see. We'll see if we get him there. In the meantime, what do you think about? Okay, go back to the World Between Worlds episode with Ahsoka and Ezra. When Ezra puts Ahsoka back, how long do you think? How much time transpired between when he took her out to when he put her back? How long was she gone?
Oh. Do you mean in real time, in terms of if the timeline is consistent when she's fighting Vader?
Right. Did she go right back, like, however much time passed, 5 minutes?
Is there a definite answer?
I don't think there is. There's speculation. So we're talking speculation?
I've never thought about this.
So I think that some of the speculation is that she went back some time later, like more than a year, maybe 2 years, maybe more. Other is that maybe she went back within like 30 minutes or however long that was that she was out. Just that much time passed. She went right back into the same portal that she came out of. Or did she go back, say, 2 years later? Hey, there's Green Bear. I see you. Still can't hear him. He's working on it. He's getting it. So what do you think, Meg?
What do I think?
Yeah, was he going 30 or was she going 30 minutes or some period less than an hour, or was she gone a year or more?
I never thought it was like a year or more. I literally thought it would have been like an hour.
Yeah. I always thought she was put right back in where she came out. She was gone the duration of time that she was with Ezra.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Green Bear, are you there? Can we hear you? Give him a chance. Oh, he's gone. We'll try him again if he comes back. Yeah, you guys, Mark put it in the chat as well, and you can find.
I hope Nikki joins us.
I would love Nikki to join us. That would be great. It would be great. Or X-Wing. You can X-Wing or Sheev or anybody that would like to join. Just click on the link in Discord. Sign in and come share your speculation. What do you think? Was Ahsoka gone an hour? Was she gone a year, 2 years? What do you think? And is there a multiverse? Like, could there be a multiverse? I guess I'll ask that kind of directly as well. Do you think that the World Between Worlds opens up a multiverse?
I choked on a bit of dust. I think it does. I think there's definitely a multiverse.
I don't think so. So there you go. See, that's that's how this works. That's how this works. No, I think that, and let me go back to we were having it in your Discord. We were having a discussion in the speculation general in your Discord, and Filoni, the quote from him. Let me go back up, and I put it in the chat there. He says, if Filoni says, I don't think of it as time travel. It's not really a thing where you go through one door and out another in a different time. The world between worlds is really about knowledge and gaining knowledge. As the Doom Wolf says, what's in there is knowledge and destruction. You can gain knowledge of the future or futures that may happen. You can see things that happened in the past. You can at times choose to alter them, but it's perilous to do so. And when you alter something, you don't know if that's the way it always happened. So destruction is the other half of what's in there. When you go through these doorways, you're in peril of destruction because you're missing all sorts of things that would have happened or things that would have happened otherwise, you know? So it's dangerous game, but it's not something we're going in and out of different doors. It's an extension of the Jedi's ability to perceive the future and the past, as described in Empire Strikes Back.
My throat is tingling. I should have swallowed.
Oh. Hey, Stash Rindar. Hello. How are you?
I just wanted the opportunity to hop on stream with Santa and Meg. My phone's
I love
on 2%.
I love
I
the
can't even
Stash
say.
X-Wing. Okay, well, for those that don't, that's X-Wing.
Who is this?
That's X-Wing
Who's are
With this-
these?
with a stash. X-Wing with a stash, an awesome stash. He's ready to be a rebel pilot with that stash.
It is Fred Durst, Mark Hamilton.
I just wanted to
I
pop
love
on and
that.
say hi. I love you guys. I'm working right now. I can't really do much, but keep up this conversation about separate timelines. I was publicly silenced about talking about this stuff, and I love that you guys are talking about it. So keep it rolling. You guys are keeping me happy at work. I love you. Yeah.
Thanks so
Good to
much,
see you.
my friend. Thanks. All right. So we have.
I did not recognize that as X-Wing. He was very close up.
Yeah, I recognize his voice right away, and so
Yeah, I
picked
look
up
like
on
Pedro Pascal.
Green Bear is back. Let's see if we can. If
Is it
we can hear
working
you.
now?
It is. Hey, I hear you.
Are we
How
good?
you doing?
Look at that. Look at that. I'm excited I'm on stream with Meg. This is awesome.
I know, right?
That yeah, let me first talk that theory she just brought up about there being like a separate like version of events happening with the sequels or Ahsoka dies. I haven't heard that before. That's awesome. I'm all on board with that, no matter how much it crushes Santa's feelings.
That's fair
I
enough.
like this guy.
Of course. And there's really two sources. The one is
What?
Lore Star. Lore Star, I think, really kind of outlined that solidly. That's a really good video. If you haven't seen it, go check out Lore
Santa,
Star's.
can I link it in the comments?
Yeah, try to do so. We've got some mods here that should be able to approve it and to let it go through. So
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
and then
But as far as speculation, I was gonna say I think you know what my speculation is.
I know what your speculation is, but go ahead. We'll hear it from your own voice. I know exactly what your
All right.
speculation is.
So instead of just typing this out in the chat like a wild man for the past like month, or two
Yeah.
or three, 4,
Yeah.
and really honestly, I've been thinking about this more since Will Morgan made that video. Which respect, that was a really good video concerning Omega and how he thought she was basically going to be the new Boba. But look, the way I've been saying it for this whole time is Omega's dead, the Bad Batch are dead, and the proof is, where are they? Where are they during the original trilogy? Where are they during the sequels? If you actually even like those, they would have to have some kind of significance. And when you go back and watch Will Morgan's video, as good as it was, the very best evidence he had of Omega being alive is it would be great for merchandising sales. Just saying.
I agree with you only in that it's really good for merchandising, which also supports why she's not dead. That's,
Yeah, but that's it though. You
that's
got the
very,
money, you got the merchandise and sales in Grogu.
and you know my defense of this. And so again, just for folks that are joining, my defense is uh, that Fennec Shand connects them. So Fennec Shand, we have no knowledge of her during the original trilogy. We see her pre, we see her post, and so that Fennec Shand was in the Bad Batch with Omega, connects Omega to the Bandoverse as well. You reject my defense. So,
I just think did anybody really care about Fennec Shand until she showed up in Mandalorian
No.
season 2? Exactly. I think Meg is kind of on board with me right now. She just doesn't want to say it.
I don't know. I think Santa is right in that Fennec Shand does kind of connect them. But I think they're trying to set up something bigger with Omega being a Fett.
Oh, and my other point too, not to just beat up on Will, but as far as somebody replacing Boba because he's too old, we already have that. His name is Din Djarin. Just saying.
Oh, I don't know if I agree with you.
Well, I mean, if Boba's too old to keep doing it and keep being relevant, Din's pretty cool.
well, you could go with my where I like to just poke the bear and just say, Din's gonna take the Slave One, rename it the Fire Spray, and because Boba's dead, we're gonna get and this is me mostly picking at Sheev, because we'll see because we have this bet, right, that that Boba is going to kill Cad Bane. I say no. Cad Bane's going to kill Boba Fett. Din's going to take the Slave One and rename it to Fire Spray. Boba's dead. And I
None
win
of
the
that is
bet.
going to happen. But I
Yeah,
think
Santa, you're
Santa
gonna.
would be. I think Santa would be as hard as a boulder if they call it the Fire Spray and not Slave One, because he loves all the decisions we all hate. He was applauding when Rey declared herself a Skywalker. He applauded when part 2 of the season 1 finale of the Bad Batch was absolute skittles.
Oh, you're picking on me.
I just think you're gonna look really good in front of a Mustafar background, Santa.
Fair enough.
You're gonna look
Ben.
glowing. I got to get back from my lunch break, though. Thanks for
All
having
right.
me on.
Thanks so much. It's good to talk to you. And we also have another regular here in the waiting room. Anthony, hello.
Hi,
How are you?
hi, Meg. Hi, Santa. Santa, I'm on your side. Honestly, I agree with you that most of the stuff you're saying is right. I'm not saying Meg is wrong, but I agree with you with your predictions.
Excellent.
You're not
I knew
alone.
I knew I liked you, Anthony. That's good. I hear Meg chuckling.
We're not delusional. We're not delusional.
That's so much
Those
fun.
elves are getting louder.
I told you they would. As they get up the stairs, it's going to
And
get
for
louder
me, I
and
think
louder.
Omega. I think the person who was recently announced for Ahsoka. I'm either thinking it's Omega, or maybe Hera. Do you agree?
No.
Meg?
I doubt it. I kind of feel as though people are just saying that she's going to be playing Omega because she's a blonde female, but that's about it. Because the eye color doesn't match.
Yeah,
Nothing really matches.
Who, in your honest opinion, what's your prediction for who she's going to be playing in
A new character, probably. Maybe a Chiss female. I don't remember the name of that Chiss woman who...
Arlan.
I was gonna, honestly,
Yes.
for me, I kind of wait. Can you actually retcon and bring Ayla Sakura back?
I would love that.
And I think Meg's prediction, we talked about it with a Magic Maker earlier this week, that Night Sister, what's her name?
Merrin.
Marin.
Marin.
I was like, Marin. Yeah. Night Sister Marin, I think Meg has the kind of the leading candidate. If it's anybody that we sort of know, even if it's a new to live action, like new to Normie's character, Marin, I think, is the most likely candidate, but more likely, it's going to be somebody that we don't know their name. And even though I said Arlani, and I think that's possible, I don't. I'm not sold on that. I'm taking it, Meg.
And can you guys see a possibility of maybe a Poe Dameron showing up in Mando? Or
Oh, that's a really
Yes,
good.
he was in the concept art, wasn't he, for season 2?
That's a
If you go to
really
the end
good-
credits of chapter 15, you literally see Poe Dameron on one of the pirate ships, and I don't know if it was just an Easter egg, but I could definitely see them doing like early versions of sequels characters in the upcoming
and
shows.
the reason why I asked that is because what worries me about Poe actually is that is it Oscar or John Boyega that plays Poe? I have a
Oscar.
question.
Yeah, Oscar Isaac.
I think he has a long term, like a 3 or 4 year deal to do multiple seasons with Marvel for Moon Knight. That's what scares me about Poe. I don't want them to recast him because Oscar was one of my favorite characters in the movies, to be honest.
Meg, quit reading Nikki's comments. Yeah,
She's so funny.
I know that you and her have this connection. So there's just no.
And can you guys see how about I kept on hearing rumors out that apparently they were gonna bring because he kind of looks like Harrison. They might have him cast as a young version of Han Solo.
Oh yeah, I saw some people talking about that.
Yeah, I think if
Do
they're
you
going to
actually
bring
believe
in,
that rumor, or is that just is that BS, Meg?
I would say until we know anything more, it's BS. But with anything going forward, they may take The Mandalorian Season 2 as a good indicator that, with the Luke Skywalker thing, nobody knew about it, nobody saw it coming. So, and the reception was enormous. So they're probably thinking, if we can do misdirects towards leakers and scoopers and all of this, and if we can keep as much secretive as possible until we see it in the episode, then that is the strategy they're going to go for. So don't be surprised if we see some incredibly unexpected cameo in these series, and Han Solo recast as with a lookalike, maybe a bit
Sebastian
of touch up.
Stan or whatever.
Yeah, as Luke Skywalker or anything, then we're not going to know about it.
Honestly, I kind of hope, for me, as a non-hardcore, I'm not going to use the normie term that hardcore fans use for people like me. As a non-hardcore fan like you guys are, I'm actually excited for me the sequel series wasn't as bad as people thought it is. Just that there's fans of the prequel that hate it. Like I've talked to fans who were said these movies were trash. Like they have no relevance to the storyline, the timeline, and stuff like that. I'm like, can you guys explain that to me? Why there's such a divisiveness between the prequel and the sequel fans?
I think it's mainly to do with how they envision Star Wars continuing under Disney. And I genuinely think prequels fans are a very different kind of fan to sequels fans, in the sense that the people who really like the sequels, you tend to find that many of them were original trilogy fans more than they were prequels fans, because in their eyes, even if they have disagreements about the treatment of some of those characters, they feel as though they captured the essence of what Star Wars was under George Lucas much better than what he did with episodes 1 to 3, which was heavily aimed towards kids, heavily CGI'd, and introduced concepts which they would consider to be less coherent with canon continuity as they knew it from the original trilogy. But I'll let Santo answer that because he is a sequels man.
Do you guys like the fact that they're retconning some of the stuff? Like, apparently they're retconning that about like Ben actually putting his essence into Rey. Do you like that, or that's a little bit too far? In your honest opinion, man?
I think that's speculation, and that the speculation is
in the new
kind
comics.
of falling
They're
apart.
saying when the new comics come out, that's what's going to happen.
They're going
Stuff
to
like
that. Well, there's that, again. That I think that's a lot of speculation that we don't really have any firm hold on it. We do see they're tying in some sequel pieces in the comics, in even the High Republic, like going to Takadana and things like that.
Mad Cave, you're ridiculous. Mad Cave, you're ridiculous.
Let me address this question. So Jedi Mike asks, how do you get a Santa hat? Well, you become a member, and you can do that at 3 levels: $2 a month, $5 a month, or $10 a month. And as you are a member over time, that hat color will change, eventually becoming red. So if you stay a member long enough, you will get a red hat. And with the memberships come all kinds of giveaways and other benefits. So that's how you get a Santa hat.
Are you a big fan? Like, I know you're a Star Wars fan, but were you ever a big fan of Star Trek as well, or not really?
So much like HOMC president, our friend here, who's in the chat and in Meg's Discord, there was a long time where there was no new Star Wars content from movies or anything like that. So yes, the Star Trek Next Generation was something I was heavily into when I was in active duty Army. Our unit, we would follow the episodes. We'd talk about them after the each episode came out. It was a big thing we were into. So yeah, Star Trek was a big deal for me for a long time.
Yeah, the home AMC president. Don't encourage Matt Cave, man. Seriously, don't encourage him.
Yeah.
Don't encourage it.
So just to address what Meg mentioned, for a lot of the original trilogy fans who are also fans of the sequel trilogy, everything she said is spot on for me personally. That the prequel trilogy did many things that I still can't reconcile, and for me, the mental gymnastics that it takes to make a lot of that stuff fit is too much for me to take. And then in the sequel trilogy, the mental gymnastics taken there to make things fit is easier for me to take. So I recognize that neither really align perfectly to the original trilogy, and that both take some mental gymnastics. But for me, the sequel trilogy is much easier to connect with. The characters, as Meg mentioned, less CGI, more of the practical effects, more of the characters that I connect with, where the prequel trilogy, I didn't connect as well with the characters. And the big example that Meg loves to pick on me for, is I like Rey way better than I like Anakin. Like, way better. Because
She's not as whiny.
right. And in the prequels, Anakin was never a character I liked. I never liked him. And so I wasn't rooting for him. I wasn't pulling for him. I never kind of made a connection with him. So when he turned to the dark side, I didn't care. I was like, yeah, well, he's a jerk anyway, right? I didn't like him. So it for me, there was no emotional impact there. There was no pull. I was like, yeah, well, so what? And even to the point where he choked Padme half to death, I didn't care. I just simply didn't care. And for Rey, I love her story. I love her character. I care about her deeply. But that's me. Again, I can only speak for myself.
I watched, but honestly, I watched both the prequels and the sequels because a friend of mine told me to watch it. I'm like, it's not as bad as like the prequels are not as bad as people make them out to be. It's just that I agree with you. You have to have like do a lot of mental gymnastics to attach it to the to the original trilogy. It's harder to connect the timeline. Is what you're saying?
Yeah,
I
it
think
is.
you're both absolutely insane.
Right. And I knew Ronnie. Hey, Anthony, I'm going to let you go, and we're gonna continue the discussion. But thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Anthony.
Yeah, it's great to have you
Have a
here.
good day, guys.
Thank you so much. And we have Kendall lined up to bring in, and Ronnie nailed it. He said, "Sandy, you're making Meg mad." I knew that I was poking the bear over there, over there. This one, and she's going to use that against me. But you know, it's fun. It's fine.
It is.
Do you have a rebuttal?
Honestly, you might find it surprising that I agree with you in the sense that the prequels have more mental gymnastics, but in a sense that's why I love them more.
And there's our
I kind of
friend-
like the way that George Lucas was like, hey, here's a brand new type of Star Wars.
That's excellent. Kendall's with us. Oh, you're looking good today, Kendall. Look at that. You look real sharp. You got that your stash hair all trimmed up. You look good. How you doing?
Well, actually, I'm not. I'm kind of wild today, but just up to work. Out of the way. Hey, man, how's it going?
It's going well. Let me turn your volume up on the stream so we can hear you a little better. Go ahead. Oh, so what's your
Hey, so look, I just
speculation?
got a question. So I don't know if you guys saw the mishap that happened over there with Jim and Nerds giving Josh a hard time about yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes.
With Dave and stuff. But honestly, coming out of that though, with the movies that they are supposed to be coming over, right? Supposed to be coming over to the movie side of things. What type of movie, or like whether it's a trilogy or a saga, what would you like for them to like focus on in that movie series, and like to kind of move Star Wars forward? That's what yesterday. I would love for them to just go ahead and go full on leave Palpatine, leave the Empire Order behind, and go for it with this. God damn, I'm blanking on his name. With the Thrawn saga, go ahead, go forward there, move forward. You can even use Rey, like you can even use some of these older characters to make Thrawn the overall good awesome villain. Do like I'm so hyped for it. So therefore, but just wanted to let you guys think of where you think they will be focusing their time.
Well, first of all, let me say I see you, Kendall. Like Thrawn, you and I share the same affinity for him. I am dying to get a Thrawn a live action series, and in the Ascendancy. Like, the nonsense, the post Rebels thing. That's great. Good. I'm excited about that. But more excited would be something set in the Chiss Ascendancy where we get to see Thrawn in the Chiss completely exploring that whole universe. So I'm with you there.
But I think you're going to be very disappointed by the
I
Ahsoka
know.
series
I
because they're going to go the Rebels Thrawn route.
Don't do that. But I agree with you. I agree with you.
I'm just trying to be
because
realistic.
Right. Realistically, we know that Dave and Thrawn in Rebels, Dave and Thrawn in Mando or Ahsoka or any number of those is going to be consistent. And whether that's consistent with the Thrawn that I love from the novels is less likely. So
I have a question, Santa. I don't know if you know the exact answer, but is Timothy Zahn's work on Thrawn, not just the original Thrawn trilogy, but the more recent books as well, are they more or less popular than Star Wars Rebels was?
Well, with any novel, I'm going to say that less people read than watch. So I would say that more people are familiar with Thrawn from Rebels than are familiar with Thrawn from the novels.
And I think
in
that
any
alone is going to connect him to Rebels, but I do hope they do throw a bone to people who are fans of Zahn's depiction of Thrawn, who's way more complex, who has so much depth to him, where you kind of... It's a bit like Maul, but in a different way, where you're kind of rooting for him, but at the same time you know not to trust everything about him.
I, what I want to know, and you brought this up, is Thrawn's motivation. Like, I understand Thrawn's motivation in the novels. It's very, very clear. It's to protect the Chiss ascendancy. He is all about the Chiss ascendancy and protecting it. What is his motivation in Rebels? What is his motivation in the Mandoverse? What will his motivation be? And what's driving him to do what he's doing?
So I made a mistake in the video I think you're referring to, and I didn't choose the right word when I said it was a retcon in Lesser Evil. I don't think that was the right choice of words, but it does clash with what we know about him from Rebels, at least in the Siege of Lothal or Liberation of Lothal, sorry.
Yeah.
And also based on what we know from the previous books, and I'll admit I haven't read everything to do with Thrawn. But I honestly cannot tell you what his one motivation is in the Mandoverse, because we don't know what they're going to introduce. We don't necessarily know every threat from the unknown regions. Are they going to give us the Grisk? Is there something else? I don't know what they're going to draw upon, what they're going to create. Because literally until The Mandalorian came out, we didn't even know that the Imperial Remnant was what it was.
Right.
When they introduced Moff Gideon, we didn't know that was still such a prominent faction.
And that exists very much in the Aftermath novels. You can see the different factions kind of trying to jockey for position. But to get them in live action, it's very consistent with the Aftermath novels. And Matt Risman, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. And Daryl's here. Good to see you, my friend. Hello. Hey, what do you want to add to the conversation?
Well, I said it earlier in the chat, but it's like, you know what? Since you started inviting people on, I'll just come on and say it. There is such an easy way to remake the sequel trilogy without getting rid of them or the characters. The existing sequel trilogy is a Force vision that Luke has while at his Jedi Academy he's starting. That's what will happen if he fails and runs away.
Isn't that what happened in The Last Jedi novelization at the beginning?
I don't know. I didn't read it.
There's a very similar idea of Luke talking about an alternate reality where it's more like a dream, where he's talking about his wife. I can't remember her name, sorry.
That would be Mara Jade.
No, not Mara Jade.
Okay.
It's actually a character who was in the original cut for A New Hope, but then they got rid of her. I don't remember her name.
No, it's very funny though. Daryl was making funny. He did good. He did good.
Thank you. Was blessed.
Like, I understand. And that fits very much with the Jedi, like, Force visions. What they see may or may not be what is coming to fruition, right?
Right.
Visions are unreliable, as are prophecies, right? They're very in the air. So it could be. I see what you're saying, Daryl. That it would still keep it relevant as well. Like, Luke had these visions. This is how this all played out. It's still relevant. It's still part of canon. It's still part of the story. It just truly, in the sense of from a certain point of view, right? It just kind of changes how we look at it.
Right.
I think that would bugger a lot of Star Wars fans who enjoy the sequels. I don't think that would be something they would be okay with.
I
agree, but I mean, it's... Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say it's like taking anything that you really like in the Star Wars timeline and being like, well, actually, that was a vision. What really happened is... And then you create a new story.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see it that way, too. You know, I didn't even think about that. But, you know, it's an alternate to the War Between Worlds scenario.
And I love that it's a New Heart kind of connection, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And Meg, do you get the reference to New Heart?
I don't. I'm afraid.
Oh, you're too young.
It's an old thing. You gotta qualify for AARP to get that joke.
That's right. That's right. You got to be over 40, and then you can get the joke. No, Newhart was a comedy series, and Bob Newhart was in several different series. And the Newhart series, that was the last big thing he did. At the very last episode, he wakes up in bed with his wife from a different series and said, I had the craziest dream. Like the whole series was a dream. A bit of a Dallas throwback too, but it was different. It was really good.
Yeah, and the audiences, the fans loved it. They thought it was great.
It's funny. It was really good.
By the way, the character I was thinking of is Cammy Marstrap.
Cammy Mostrap.
She was actually
Luke's-
in the original.
Cammy. Yeah.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Yeah, it's easy to forget.
Nice theory, Daryl. Thank you for sharing.
Well, thank you for having me on, guys. I got to get back to work, but Santa, Meg, it's been a absolute pleasure just being on with you guys.
Thank you so much, Daryl.
It is.
No, absolutely.
We wanted to have a community stream, bring in people that we know, and Daryl, you've been a great member of our community. We're so thankful for you being here. So thanks.
Thank you very much, and y'all have a good one, and may the force be with you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
No, bye-bye.
Santa, I was just going to ask if I can answer a question that Anthony put forward in the chat. He asks if Baby Yoda and Yoda are the same person, and I would say absolutely not. And I think that was an old theory that even I held before The Mandalorian Season 2 came out. I thought maybe Grogu is a young version of Yoda that was put in the world between worlds, and I had all these theories, whether he was a clone or whether somehow he was, in fact...
Go ahead. No, the dogs.
I hope that was a dog.
Yeah. It's one of the dogs.
I don't judge, but I wasn't sure if Grogu was actually Yoda originally before he had his own identity. I thought maybe he was like a time traveled Yoda, or we were seeing a different timeline. But it's pretty certain that Grogu is his own character. The eye color is different for one thing, and we know that Grogu trained at the Jedi Temple of Coruscant at the same time as Anakin. So,
oh my goodness. I clicked on the wrong one. Hold on 1 second. Here we go. RF Gaming Channel. Right. Elf escaped. Crying out as he was being beaten back into the workshop.
if a human being ever makes that sound, they're either having too much fun or experiencing a living hell.
Again, no judgment. If that's the sound you make when you're having too much fun, then hey.
That's the quickest roast you've ever done as a comeback.
I'm learning, Meg.
I have a joke that's way too inappropriate for this stream, so I probably shouldn't say it.
No, you shouldn't. Oh my goodness, that's great. There's another theory. Oh, how do I join? Hey, Will. Let me shoot you the link. I put it in my Discord in the Star Wars Santa. And here it is. I've got Will on the DMs. I can just DM him a link, and we'll let him rebut some of the things that were said earlier. Hold on, copy. Let's try again.
I think people have just noticed the name I've gone for today. Scrambled Megs with beans. It's a different food every time. Last time it was Megs and bacon. So you'll have to stay tuned for the next Santa stream.
So there we go. Hasbro, the Malakili, which is the Rancor Keeper, right? And they've barely made it. I think they've gone above 5,000. Let me check. The last time I looked, they were coming up quickly on 5,000, but they hadn't met it yet. Yes, they're over 5,000 now. At one point they were at 5,100, and now they're under 5,000. Or they went down close to 4,000. Now they're back up to 5,000. They need to get to 9. I don't think they're going to make it. Ronnie, yeah, you're complaining. Kayla is also complaining. She called me last night to say, you didn't stream today. I was available. This was yesterday. And I said, well, I'm going to stream tomorrow. You could join. She said, I'm busy. I can't tomorrow. You always do this to me, Dad. So there you go, Ronnie.
It's always better when you don't notice that someone streamed, because it means that they flushed.
So bad. So bad, Meg.
Speaking of yellow lightsabers,
Speaking of yellow lightsabers, hey, we've got Will Morgan. Hey there, Willie Will. How are you?
How's it going? I don't know if you can hear me or not.
I can. Sound great.
Good, good. Oh my goodness, this is crazy. Hold on.
All right. Oh, you're back. I can see you now too.
I cannot seem to get it to not have a little bit of a echo.
The echo is not coming through to me, so it's just on your end. I think Melon will figure it out, and it'll echo cancel for you as you talk more.
if there's an echo, maybe we should get in a bit of tech
Oh,
before
All
it
right.
wreckers itself.
go ahead, Matt. Go ahead, Will.
All right. I think that everybody's looking at the whole world between the worlds in the wrong way. They're acting like they're going to use the world between worlds to retcon. I believe that Rise of the Skywalker actually is a retcon.
And how
Do you
so?
care to explain?
Yeah.
The reason we do not see Force Ghosts at the end of Rise of Skywalker is because those voices are coming from the world between worlds. When Rey says, "I am all Jedi," she literally means it.
Oh, you think?
I would disagree with that.
I think it's metaphorical.
I think that's why we don't see Force Ghosts. I think that's why there's different voices to the same characters also. It's because those are the different characters at different parts of their life.
I don't think those voices are real. I don't even think they're the actual Jedi speaking to her. I've always thought it was Palpatine projecting those into her head, because earlier in the film he tells Ben, or Kylo, "I've been every voice you've ever heard inside your head." He was actually manipulating Rey to try and get her to kill him.
Yeah, you're deep, Meg.
She thinks about these things. She's really smart too. That's my problem. Is she always zinging me because I'm not as quick or as smart as she is.
I know I'm not as smart as Meg.
I'm sure you're
But I
way
think that-
smarter.
I think that Rise of Skywalker is the retcon. I think that the Emperor had already won. And I think that all of those Jedi have come out of those doors. And I think that actually explains the bond between Kylo and Rey as well.
Fascinating. And this is exactly what this stream is about.
It's
Give
a
us your
pretty interesting
speculation.
theory.
It
Again,
really
I'd never
is.
even considered that.
I saw another one that kind of goes that same direction, Will, that that Palpatine actually does inhabit Rey at the end of Rise, because he did exactly what he wanted her to do. And he was able to transfer his essence to her. And that when she's burying those sabers at the end, that's actually being controlled by Sheev.
Palpies.
It's a fascinating theory. I don't agree with it, but anyway, that's what they're saying.
I think it's a very good theory.
Well, I
Yes,
mean,
he
we
will.
already know that Palpatine had something to do with the world between worlds too, because that's what runs Ezra and Ahsoka out, is because Palps is on the other side of one of those mirrors and he's fucking around with that. And the good thing that will makes this whole theory solidified is the fact that Rey's voice can be heard in the Rebels episode amongst all the other voices they hear when Ezra walks into the world between worlds. And she hadn't even been born yet. She's not born for like another 5 years, but she's in the world between worlds. So we know, like they say, it goes in the future also.
Well,
So
there's an
whatever's
interesting-
happening between Rey and Palps is happening as Ezra's walking through there. And I think that Ahsoka's series is going to connect that.
I've heard another theory regarding the world between worlds, that it's actually how the Force connects different people or things together is between the world between worlds. Anybody who's using the Force, go back again to Rebels, where Yoda is speaking to Ezra and to Kanan as they're inside the Lothal temple. the one that Meg referenced that I picked up on is the symbol we see for the Ahsoka series. That communication between Yoda and Ezra and Kanan is happening through the world between worlds. That's what connects people to be able to communicate over distance like that. And so what it does is, to kind of build on your theory, Will, is that the world between worlds connects time and space. So that we hear Rey's voice from the future, it goes through the world between worlds as a conduit to the past. Likewise, it would do it from the past to the future through that same conduit. It's the telephone line, if you will.
I think that's a really good interpretation.
Yeah, I can't remember who
I like
came up
that.
with it, but it's really strong. I mean, the more I think about it, the more that seems to be consistent with what we're seeing. And it also explains Rey and Kylo in their dyad, that's actually happening between the world between worlds portals. It just joins the two portals together, so that things are passed directly from one to the other, from one portal to another.
Can we change subjects just for one thing?
Go for it.
I think I mean, it's not really changing the subject because it is connected, but I think Maz Kanata is more important than we think.
Fascinating. I agree with you.
I genuinely think they want to revisit that Force Awakens vision that Rey has when she touches the lightsaber, and also how Maz Kanata got the lightsaber in the first place.
I
So-
agree with you.
I don't know
Go
if you
ahead.
know about the Ugnaughts story. How
No.
they're the ones who picked it up from Bespin. And I'm convinced that it was Quill who is the one who handed Luke's lightsaber to Maz Kanata.
Oh boy. Hold on one second. I gotta mute myself for just 1 minute.
No
Hold on.
worries. Hey everybody, how's it going? Taking over Santa's stream. Well, I think he's gone. Just for the meantime, he's gone. It looks like there's an elf uprising. Do something quick, Meg. Should I tell you the joke that, or rather the comeback, that I was going to tell Santa that was too inappropriate? It's probably not fair to him, though, because it might be demonetized. I don't know if I should say it. Ah, too late. And that is why Santa is planning to take over the world.
Oh no. So we're the elves in the basement are getting shocked as they're working on the electric, and they're protesting. They don't like it. so we're trying to get the breaker turned off so they would quit getting shocked down there. But we've got to get that. We don't know which breaker it is to solve that problem. So what was again? Take me back to where we were right before I had to step away.
So I was just saying how we know in canon Ugnaughts are the ones who handed Luke's lightsaber to Maz Kanata, but in one of the comic strips, there's one male Ugnaught who picks it up.
Oh.
And I think that's Quill. I think they're going to link that.
That would be brilliant. That would be absolutely brilliant. And I agree with you about Maz Kanata becoming more popular or more of part of the plan, only because we see her in the High Republic novel referenced, or in the High Republic era referenced. They were going to go to Takodana. We know that she's lived for hundreds of years. That covers, much like Yoda, who for hundreds of years, and he kind of bridges all these eras as well, that they're going to make the Maz Kanata bridge all those eras all the way through the sequel trilogy. So, yeah, I agree with you that she's going to be a pivotal or play a more prominent part in series going forward.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And as you know, Star Wars Only and the guys over at Tatooine, they're convinced Maz is going to be in the Book of Boba Fett.
Well, she absolutely fits in there.
She really does. And we know from
and-
Battlefront that was it Battlefront 2 that there is Slave One on Takodana. I nearly said Taco Bell. There's the Slave One at Taco Bell parked by the castle, White Castle.
Oh, that's so funny. So Anthony said to read his comment from before, and I look back, that's the one about Yoda and Grogu. They're the same species. They're not the same person. So that's let's see, what species is Maz? So there's another thing about Maz that was an early theory, and one that I've not heard for a long time, is that she was actually hanging out with the why can't I? Jawas. She's hanging out with the Jawas.
If you Google what species is Maz Kanata, it says Jawa.
Does it?
It does.
So that was an early. There was an early rumor that she was a Jawa, or she was hanging out with them, at least disguised as one, and that allows her to show up throughout all of the.
I can't imagine she's actually a Jawa. It's just when you were saying she's just hanging out with Jawas, it's like, hey, fellow Jawas, Utini and all that crap.
Well, or that she was just disguised as a Jawa for a period of time.
And she's also in the Phantom Menace on a statue.
She is. She is.
Anakin has a statue of her.
He does, and she could be in the original trilogy in A New Hope as a Jawa, disguised as a Jawa on Tatooine. So
I love the way Boba Fett pronounces Tatooine in the new TV spots. He's like, left on the deserts of Tatooine.
Tatooine, two syllables.
Yep,
Very good.
Tatooine. It's like Halloween.
Oh, very good. Can you see the actress? We talked about this a little bit earlier. Let me get back. The actress that was announced for Ahsoka playing Aralani. We did mention that earlier. I think that she could be Aralani. I just they said new character. That would be new to most people, unless you've read the Thrawn novels. It's possible. I just don't think it's probable.
Is Maz a god or something? I don't think so. She's just lived a long time. Is she like 1,000 years old? The pirate queen?
She's really old. Yeah. Ducky, hey, thanks for the super chat. The Jedi Academy logo leak. There was a combo of Luke and Ahsoka. Oh, you remember that, right? From the merchandise. We kind of zoomed in on it. I really think there will be a second academy led by Ahsoka with Ezra and Grogu off in Chiss space. That's where they are in the sequel trilogy.
Oh, I hope not. I hope there's a better explanation.
Look,
I want to know what happens to the Bad Batch eventually. That's what I'm curious about.
Yeah, I'm curious about the Bad Batch. Are they dead by the time the original trilogy happens? We know that there's the on again, off again Rex in Empire Strikes Back, right? But
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. Yeah, sorry, Return of the Jedi. There, in the forest moon of Endor, right? So it's off again, on again, as far as that being Rex. Which means that the Bad Batch absolutely could be alive and well during there. And we'll just have to see where they go with the Bad Batch animated series.
Did you
to
see
let
my
us know.
video yesterday about all the clones who are still alive?
Yes. And you mentioned maybe not. We don't know, right?
Yeah. I think Echo. I got a feeling about him. It's an instinct, a feeling.
Very good. Very, very, very good. There goes Nikki again.
I have no issue with Maz. I think she's one of the only sequels characters I genuinely enjoyed.
Look, I know you're very critical of the Rise of Skywalker, and it's one thing that I'll agree with you. I really don't like what they did um, with Maz in Last Jedi.
She was a hologram for like 10 seconds.
10 seconds. I didn't like
It's
that
like what
at
they
all.
did with Rose in episode 9.
And there is this theory that Echo Base could be named after Echo.
I love that theory. I've seen that theory on Reddit.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. Do you think that the Jedi Academy Luke establishes one that Rey ends up taking over? No, I think that Jedi Academy is dead. I think it's gone. There's nothing left of it. And any Jedi Academy that Rey and potentially Finn start will be modeled a bit differently than what we've seen in the past. And I think that's really sort of what Luke was going for as well. But we need to see it expanded on before we know.
I'm Mars Kanata in disguise. RF Gaming. He says that I enjoy Mars because of our letters. The letters in our names are 3, and both of our names begin with M. And I don't know why I'm talking like Yoda today. I've said like 3 sentences backwards.
And you're the same height. Is that a coincidence?
Ah, you guessed it. By the way, Santa, something I really wanted to speak to you about is, you know how in the teasers and the trailers for Book of Boba, they mention Jabba the Hutt quite a lot. Do you think that's an indication we'll get flashbacks?
Perhaps. But I like your other theory. Rada the Hutt, right? What about Rada?
Exactly. If you've read the Clone Wars, Tales of Light and Dark,
Yeah.
there's literally a whole spiel at the beginning about how much Rota means to Jabba, and he's literally talking about how one day you're going to inherit all of this, and obviously that ties into Ambush, the episode of Clone Wars, and also the
Yep.
Clone Wars movie, and I think that would be an amazing connection to
I do
see
too.
Rota the Hutts.
It would be, and it would be a nice kind of deep cut that John and Dave are known so well for. I think it would be fantastic. So there were the rumors of seeing a Hutt tail, and then there were lots of speculation over, is that tail used for Jabba flashback, or is that tail Rada, or it both, or what? And I love the concept that maybe it's Rada.
You know, I think to play a character which is full of scum and villainy, they should choose Ted Cruz. I think they modelled Jabba the Hutt after him.
X-Wing, sorry about that. X-Wing's been great in the chat. Nikki's been great. You guys have all been wonderful. I do need to put the elves back in line. I need to go oversee the shenanigans they're getting into. So I do want to, before we end out kind of abruptly, apologize for that, but I do want to bring up the Mike Porter dad joke of the day. We have to go here. What do you call a hydrangea that works for the police to get information?
Sorry, what is a hydrangea?
It's a type of flower, a bush, a plant. We could have made. Hey, look here. Speaking of which, there's Mike Porter. Hello. Let's see if we can get Mike Porter himself. We see you, Mike. I don't hear you. Still don't hear you. He's working on it. Let's see if Mike can get the audio working. Nope, we
No, I
got
still
nothing.
can't hear you.
No. We got nothing. I see the ceiling in your dining room, I think. Not sure.
And a wonderful ceiling it is.
Yes. a nice chandelier hanging down there. Yeah, there's a legend on stream, and he's muted there.
Ducky is
Up
not
the-
wrong.
The up the nose shot for all this guys.
X-Wing was the best. He was like the love child of Fred Durst and Pedro Pascal.
He should use that. The X-Wing, the love child of Pedro.
X-Wing was just like right up there, right up close. Like, hey guys.
A mustache and a nose. That was it.
That was brilliant.
Oh, so good. Well, we'll give Mike one chance to get back in. I think he was going to try to disconnect and come back. If not, we'll close out the stream. And yeah, Fred Durst. There you go. I do need to cut it off. We've gone long, and I've got to check out what's going on with for those of you that don't know, we do have contractors working to build a new studio so that I can do my live streams from the new studio, and that I can do my virtual visits to Santa from. So that work is coming to a completion, and I should be able to move into that space here very soon. When that happens, we're having a renovation of this floor of the house, and you'll hear more banging and sawing and that kind of stuff. So, excellent.
More banging is always great. It's also good for cardiac health, I was reading.
Well, that's what I've heard. That's what
A
I've
weekly
heard.
bang. Or more if you've got time. It depends how busy your jobs are.
Exactly. Oh my goodness, G-Bone Tour, thank you so much. Appreciate the support here. And if you're coming in late, if you've not subscribed to the channel, I would ask that you consider subscribing. It really helps us out a lot and gets us noticed on more YouTube algorithms. And if you
share this video out there, share it out there, get it out into the interwebs.
Thank you, Meg.
Sorry,
yes.
I interrupted.
And if you've subscribed, could you check to see you're still subscribed? Meg and I both have noticed that things have seemed to diminish where they shouldn't have. So, and it's been reported by some folks saying that that they were subscribed and now they're not. So if you could just make sure you're still subscribed, that would be great. And if you would like one of those Santa hats next to your name, you could join as a channel member. And thank you for that. Jesus for the bang. Thank you so much for that as well. So you guys, thanks for being here. And Meg, as always, it's been fun to speculate with you today. And oh, look there. We've got
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And thank each and every one of you for the support and being here and over on my channel. It's always appreciated. So do make sure you're still subscribed to Santa and myself.
Yes.
Unless you're only subscribed to Santa, which I understand.
Or you should just be subscribed to Meg. I mean, you know. Come on, let's get it right. So thank you all.
YouTube is a fickle beast.
It is a fickle beast. The comic book steals and deals. You're not wrong. I should share with you guys. I am trying to win a Hot Toy figure of Rey and Dio. So stay tuned to see if Santa wins that giveaway. I'm trying hard.
If you're confused, like most of us, Dio is the hairdryer droid.
That's true. That's true. Very good. Thank you all so much. Again, I got to go. Thanks for being here. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. And we'll catch you next time. Until then, my friends, may the force be with you always. Bye-bye.